it's really becoming tough for us to travel. But of course, people from Bangalore know the pain because they usually travel and what all is left of them. So
at least we have water here.
Huh?
At least we have water here.
I know. So which is why my parents from Bangalore are staying with me right now. There's no water in Bangalore. So again, thank you all. Just to give us context, we're starting to do these very niche kind of sectors. Though we may not get a big audience, but this is something that we want founders and our ecosystems to start looking now. Not when it becomes a unicorn and then all rush to that. So I think I have Anand with me over here. He's a charter member from TiE Mumbai. For most of you who didn't know, he was the man behind the rift between Rohit and Hardik Pandya. So I'm just joking. So he used to work for Mumbai Indians before this.
I can't get anyways fired, right?
Huh?
Even if I was, I can't get fired.
No, you can't. So, so he's going to be the moderator of the day. And I think my only request is again, you know that we have very freewheeling discussions over here. So give the whole panel the first 25-30 minutes to make their points. Unless there's something which is, like they're saying completely against your DNA that you can put your hand up and, quiz them, challenge their IQ. Please do that. To give them a context, can I ask a 2-minute introduction of everybody? Just your name, your company, and your interest in this sports tech as a segment. And even if you're completely virgins to this, let us know so that all our 3 speakers today will kind of get in context as to, whether they take a notch up or they bring it, 3 notches down. So that's the whole thing. Yeah, Raj.
Hi everyone, Raj Gokhale, partner with KPMG, Digital and Analytics, part of the leadership team for analytics for KPMG India. My interest in sports analytics is, let's say, very high level right now, but I do believe that it can be a big business. I was just talking to Anand outside, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Thank you for the invite.
Okay. By the way, he's an angel investor who's quite free with his money. So, I mean, that's the most important thing that founders want to know and classify.
You're sold.
This is Gaurav Sinkar. So currently working as a data analyst at RFYS, mainly into Olympic sports. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Shamik Shah, I'm from Sports for All. Rishi on the panel who is also from that. So of course this is everything that we do.
Perfect.
That's why.
Venkat from You Too Can Run. We do a lot of things around running. We've been in this space for a long time and we do many things in running.
Yeah, hi. My name is Rakesh and I'm working since many years for the fitness industry. And for a few years back, I have launched the CRM for fitness industry. Now I'm connecting with this sports industry with my applying to launch my marketplace for that fitness industry and sports.
Sure. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Saket from fitsf.com. We have launched a vertical marketplace dedicated to sports and we are also giving related services. So we have started with running and we are about to launch to other sports very soon.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Shweta and I'm a co-founder with him. So I look at the tech side of the same startup.
Perfect.
Hi, I'm Pari, I'm 17 and actually I've come with my father, but I'm an athlete and I'm going to be going to US for diving, which I do Olympic diving, and I'm also going to be majoring in sports business, so I've just come to get an understanding.
Perfect. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Saurabh Anand. I'm currently working in Zydex and I've been a national level hockey player, so I've always been inclined towards sports. And now I'm planning to pursue a degree in sports management, so I'm here to learn and see.
Perfect.
Hi, I'm Srinivas. I'm basically an FMCG professional, 25 years in the FMCG industry, brands like Johnson & Johnson, Philips, SC Johnson. So I want to start up my own now. And as such, I'm a cricketer, under 15 V. Pattabhiraman Trophy, under 17 A.G. Ram Singh Trophy for Hyderabad. And sports tech has been an area of interest for me.
Perfect.
Hi, Abhishek here. I started out in fundraising about 2 decades ago, but been a full-time sports journalist for about 15 years now. Most recently worked with RCB for the WPL.
And congratulations. I'm a closeted RCB fan, and that's only because I've been living in Mumbai for the last 14 years.
Hi, I'm Manish Balwani here. I work with startups and MSMEs, help them raise funds. And secondly, we also are into the secondary and the public markets. What brings me here is I'm working on a mandate with a company, with a startup, basically AI in sports.
Okay.
So that's something. So want to understand the space better.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, this is Manoj Sonavne. My current company is into sports skincare, and we manufacture things like white zinc, sunscreen, brown zinc, and all that. And my previous venture was into cricket, like capturing the highlights of the cricket matches, using the umpire. So we had a mobile app which will capture the highlights and publish it on YouTube channel. And I also want to do something for the tough sports, which I think will be pretty big in the coming years, and that's why I'm here.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ramdas Samant. I am from Allstate Group. We are in 9 vertical. For sports related, our indoor, outdoor, adventure, water sports related equipment, we are in, like pool table, bowling alley and all. Yes.
Perfect.
And another sector.
Thank you.
I am Vinay, completely new to sports, but always fascinated how sports make money. So looking forward to the discussion.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sunil. I'm an engineer who turned into sports and been working in sports from last 1 year. I'm very fascinated about the grassroots thing and what SFA does. I'm a very big fan of that, what SFA does. So I would love to know what SFA want to do more using the data and everything. And I know Shubhangi's team as well. Sachin, I think is working with them. So also like what they're broadcasting, and they can go more into grassroots, use the data and everything. I hope I can transition my journey from engineer to sports. I can use my tech knowledge and the business acumen to do something in sports. So that's what the thing which I'm looking at. So I'm here to connect and to gain some knowledge. Thank you.
Perfect.
Hi everyone, my name is Saurabh Purgaonkar. I am from OnePlay Sports. I am heading the business in India. I've been earlier with Pitch Vision, which was a sports tech company. And since this is the sports tech panel discussion, this is of keen interest to me. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Aditya Modi. I'm an analyst at a new private equity and growth VC firm called Amara Partners. And just here to sort of understand the sector since we're building our thesis on it.
Yeah, sure. If anybody needs a little heads up on Amara, Parag Shah is the partner who's a board member. So at least 2 levels we can say, "Aapka ho jayega." I'm just joking. Again, welcome all. Thank you for this. I think now I leave it to the panel. And again, please remember that this is a freewheeling discussion. We do record stuff, but say by mistake uttered names and stuff like that, do let us know. We'll edit it. And so Chatham House rules will apply, folks. And I think the idea over here is to gain as much as knowledge as you can all. From our personal perspective, there is TiE. I have my team, Kushal, Kutti, Ali. So you can reach out to them anytime. But from our perspective, I think we just want to understand the opportunities that is there. And if at all you have any feedback to us as an association or as a body that we need to do more, let us know. And that's what we are looking to. Over to you, Anand.
Thank you. First of all, thanks a lot to the TiE team. I think first time when Sabnam approached with this idea of doing something in sports, and that was because for the last 1 year I was putting some idea here and there. So it was great to let's say hear back, and almost 2 months back, and from now to having this session, I think it's great. And I would like to thank Rohan, Shubhangi and Rishikesh for taking out the time and agreeing to do this. And although we are doing, just to clarify, although we are doing the session's name is on sports tech, but sports is very big part of it. Tech is just starting, right? So we will first try to capture the sports side of it, and then we'll come to opportunities and things like those. But before diving into the session, I would request our speakers to briefly introduce themselves.
Hi, hello everyone. Rishi here. I'm the founder of SFA, Sports for All. We are trying to build one unifying school sports platform across the country, and trying to radically transform the way school sports was looked at. So yeah, more to come when we get into conversation.
My name is Shubhangi. I am one of the co-founders of SportVot, and at the base level, we are trying to solve a problem of content and data capturing at grassroots level. Currently, we are doing
that in 80 cities in India and around 14 countries beyond India. Again, more to follow as and when things go.
I am Rohan. My day job is Director of Marketing and Comms at Omidyar Network India, which is an impact investment firm. I also at ONI also have a sports investment practice, of which SportVot is actually a investee company, and we look at the intersection of sport and impact. And I'm also one of the reasons I think Anand's invited me is because I've actually had the opportunity and the privilege of having worked in sports as a journalist, as an operator, as having built IPs, and now as an investor. So I've actually been privileged over the last 2 decades to look at different aspects of the industry, and I can tell you it's a very interesting and very exciting time to be a part of it.
Yeah. And as far as I am concerned, I am Anand Leal, currently working as Head of Partnerships and Business Development at Pedal India. I'm sure most of you have not heard about it, but you will hear about it in next 2 years for sure. Earlier I was working with Reliance Sports almost for 5 years and got the opportunity to being the part of purchasing process of the last 4 teams which Mumbai Indians purchased, 3 outside India, 1 in India. But the thing which I am the most passionate about apart from sports, startups is the second thing which it's something which it creates some kida inside me, and that's why I was trying to build something at the intersection of sports and startups at MI. Unfortunately it didn't happen, and now I'm trying to carry forward the same thing in whichever small way I can contribute. And I think today sports in general and sports tech in particular, it's at the intersection of there is this thing called inflection point, and I think that point has come, even if not from Indian perspective, from global perspective for sure. So I think it's great to it has been a very short introduction of our speakers, but Rishi, starting with you, because let's say you were doing all things sports at the top of the top with Mumbai Indians and Reliance. You were there almost for 7-8 years, built it from grounds up, and from there to going at the bottom of the pyramid of sports, right? So how has been your journey so far, right? And today SFA is pretty much doing many things, whatever the organized part of grassroots sports is concerned. So please take us through your journey briefly.
It's a very interesting journey because I was a national level swimmer myself. I started playing sport at the age of 4 and 5. I mean, today when I go and meet governments and ministers, they ask me, so who are you? And I'm like, I've been in sport for 35 years. So it's like, how old are you? I said, I'm only 40. So that's actually very one-dimensional because for 35 years of my life, I've done only sport. I've been exactly where you are as national level swimmer. So the journey started this way, right? Because while I was doing my engineering in information technology is when I realized that I'm not cut out for that, and I was at a state of flux in my own life, and I said that the only other thing that I would like to do or know to do is sports. So I want to do sports, and I didn't know anybody in sport, and there was no formal jobs. There was nothing like this 20 years ago when it came to sport. And so I reached out to my uncle and I told him that I want to do something in sport. You are a member at CCI. Can you help me meet someone? So he's like, I'll meet only one person that I know, Raj Singh Dungarpur. So I went and met Mr. Raj Singh Dungarpur when I was around 19, 20 years old, and I told him very categorically that I don't want to work in cricket, I want to work in sports. So why don't you tell me what I can do in sports? So he's like, there is nothing right now in sports, you will have to start off from cricket. There is no other way to look at starting a career in administrative side of things in sport other than cricket. There was no IPL also at that time. So I said, okay, great, that works fine for me because if that's the start, so be it. So I did 2 charity matches which were organized at CCI, and I said, okay, that's what I kind of fairly understood about it. And then 2003-04 is when the first Standard Chartered Mumbai Marathon happened in Bombay. And I had failed my 12th standard exams and I had an entire year to kill. So we were at the family farm and I was again doing nonsense, and my mom is like, you're wasting your time. at least go and run the marathon, you might just win some prize money. And that way the year will go on. So I said, okay. And I ran the first marathon without any practice or anything of that sort, that first half marathon. And to me, that was like the most beautiful day that I had seen in Bombay city. You know, the entire Marine Drive was shut, there were no cars, people were running, there were green, white, blue balloons. And like that kind of really hit me very hard, saying that, wow, this is what, you know, a day like this can do to people. And so then I realized that there has to be some company that must be organizing this or anything of that sort. So let me go and figure. So that's how I figured out that Procam was the company, and I walked into that office saying that kuch bhi de do, I'll happily, you know, start doing something. So that happened, and then for 2-3 years I worked, and then I realized that I need some formal education in sport. Today I would discourage anybody to go abroad to do formal education in sport. It makes no sense, firstly. But yeah, I did that. I went because so I went to Australia, I studied for a couple of years, and that's when the IPL came about. I was planning to work in Australia only, saying that, you know, still there's nothing in India, so let's start working there. But the IPL came about, and thankfully I had a connection with Reliance. So I told my dad, you know, if you can check, and if there's a job available, then I'll come back. And you know, that's the story. And that's when Mr. Raj Singh Dungarpur's words again hit me, saying that cricket se hi shuru karna padega. So that's how my journey in professional administrative sport kind of began back then. And when I started SFA, it was, you know, going back to Mr. Raj Singh Dungarpur's conversation that no cricket but sport. And today at SFA we operate in 32 disciplines of sport and no cricket. So yeah, that's pretty much how things kind of came together. Yeah.
That's very interesting, I guess. And yeah, I think that's the first thing starts for everyone, starts from passion, right? Because, and as someone was saying that first engineer, I think that's the basic qualification in the country. First engineering and then everything else. So from there, Shubhangi, how has your journey shaped up so far? And SportVot has done pretty amazing job in last 5-6 years, and that too, what Rishi just said, not in cricket, but primarily in every other sport. So how has that journey been for you?
Right. So I think my journey is a bit opposite. In fact, my story started from my parents saying कि school में मतलब sports में क्यों जाना है? What's the point of being in sports? Study and get a degree and get a job, right? So I think it starts from there. And in fact, I never imagined, to be honest, that I will ever be working for a sports company or founding even a sports company, because for me that was never an option since childhood. Right, and my two other co-founders, Siddhant and Yash, once they were working on this YouTube channel where they were creating content around IPL, and they were discussing that why this player is good and working on data pieces, and I was just, you know, helping them market the whole thing. During that process, we figured out that there was this one athlete from Bangalore, again a cricketer, and he said that आप मेरा ऐसा report card बना दोगे, मुझे अच्छी placement मिल जाएगी. So that is when we realized that at grassroots level there is no way that any athlete can grow upwards, because as of till then it was all pen and paper. You had no idea how selections are happening, at what basis are the players being judged. So we started with a very small problem. We figured out, okay, how do you solve this? And one day on YouTube we saw a Borle Premier League being streamed on YouTube with like a very average scoreboard and a chair and a cow walking by the ground, and you know, people were watching it. There were 2,500 live viewers back then on YouTube. So then we started to study a bit more about broadcast tech. We started with district school. I'm sure a few of you must know that DSOs hote hain Bombay mein. There are inter-school competitions that happen. So we started with there. We started streaming some matches. There were like around 50 different sports, indoor, outdoor, inclusive. We figured out what's the problem in data capturing, what's the problem in content capturing. I think the biggest problem was that it is so expensive that people can't do it. Like at grassroots sports at all, there is a limitation of funds also, and then enabling that data and content capturing is very difficult. So that is when we realized that we started picking sports. Of course, cricket was not the first one we chose. Kabaddi, hockey, badminton, these were the kind of sports we chose, which can be done from mobile cameras as well. We started with that. We started developing more in mobile streaming. How do you वहीं से stream कर सकते हैं, वहीं से score कर सकते हैं, player profiles update हो सकते हैं. Everything happened in a very systematic manner on a single device. that is when we started exploring more. Unfortunately, COVID hit in 2020, so I think that was a time where instead of giving up, we tried to make the product so more scalable that you don't have to send so many people on the field to do all of these things. So we started, making the tech better. Then we started, researching a bit more and how do you do it beyond India as well, because at that time we also got funded from an Australia company. So we had to prove a case in between COVID that how can we stream 50 matches in Australia sitting in India and cannot travel. So I think in Australia only there's a Deakin University that we partnered with. There were some Indian kids who were very happy to see that okay, there's an Indian company trying to do something in Australia. We came together, we made it work, and I think after COVID is when we started going aggressive in India market first, of course, because things opened up, and I think the first thing people wanted to see was sports. So there were a lot of tournaments happening. We started scaling a lot. Then we were very privileged to get a round of series fund in 2022 where Ankur Capital A were one of the lead investors. Then we started exploring more opportunities beyond tech. Like I think one of the questions is that beyond tech also there are a lot more things to solve. And then personally, that is where my involvement started coming in, is that the main reason why people can't afford streaming is because there's no fund. So how do you, convince a brand to come and invest in domestic sports? So personally, that has been my challenge for the last 1.5 years that I'm trying to solve. And so far, I think the response has been very positive. I think there are brands who have now started to look at sports as not as sponsorship or donation, but more like marketing budget investments. Of course, content data never goes, because end of the day, that is the strength, what is pulling everything together. But I think now the next big challenge is that what beyond tech and what beyond streaming.
That's, I think, super. I think that highlights the fact we talked about something like inflection point, right? Nothing of this sort could have happened if the mobile technology, today the cameras in mobile phones are so powerful that an entire game can be captured through it. And at the same time, the computer vision, analytics side of it, it's so strong that that data, the scorecards can be produced remotely. So I think that's when today there is a lot more available, and use cases have to be found by us. Tech is there. And from there, I think finding the use cases, I will come to Rohan. And they were the lead investors in the last round of SportVot. So I think from you, same question from the journey side, but at the same time, why you are so bullish when it comes to, let's say, investments in sports? If first the journey and then the investments.
Sure. So, sorry, Rishikesh, but I've been playing cricket since I was 10. Played competitively since I was...
that's fine. I love cricket.
I know, I'm joking.
My parents didn't allow me to play cricket. They like play everything other than cricket.
No, but I played competitively since I was 10. I was playing at a decently high level, and at 19 I had a knee injury. I tore my ACL, and at which point I was also doing professional theatre. I was also doing journalism. So cricket was over, because at that point we had no physiotherapy in India at all. So that's another thing that I'm passionate about in terms of medical science for sport. But my cricket career was effectively over, and then I had to decide whether I want to be very poor as a journalist or absolutely dirt poor as a theatre person. So I chose to be very poor as a journalist, and then that's when I did my masters. I worked in Indian newspapers, went overseas, did a masters in broadcast journalism, came back to India because the broadcast industry was booming. We're talking 18 years ago, 2005, or 19 now, 2005, and then that's when I joined the NDTV Sports Desk. And so I was on the NDTV Sports Desk for about 5 years. In between, went and set up World Space Satellite Radio. I don't remember that. I set up the sports network that they had, one and only one that they had over there, and then sort of did that for about 5 years, and that's when I got a chance. And at NDTV again, it was a very familiar ecosystem. I played sports, played cricket and covered a lot of cricket. Played cricket with a lot of the folks I was covering. Most of them have now retired, obviously, but back then some of them were still very active. And then I moved then to Red Bull, where I was working with where I was part of the first sort of marketing team that was being set up. I first ran the comms and created a bunch of IPs you might have heard of. We took a Formula 1 car to the world's highest motorable road. So that was my project. We did something called Red Bull Campus Cricket, which is like a global tournament that's ongoing even today. I'm very proud of that. Was involved in this crazy project where Felix Baumgartner jumped from the edge of space called Red Bull Stratos. So did a bunch of absolutely crazy things at Red Bull. It was a lot of fun. And then I probably took a knock on the head and decided to join Twitter to set up their marketing and comms over there. I did that for about a year, and then I ran something called, if you remember, the IPTL, International Premier Tennis League. It's amazing that you all do remember, but because I'd like to forget. No, but I'm joking. But I ran the Singapore team for the owners of called Singapore Slammers. I did that for a couple of years, and then I joined one of the pioneers of Indian sports marketing called Ravi Krishnan, who's running a company called Stepathlon. So I ran Stepathlon for him for a year and a half. And if anyone who know Ravi, a year and a half working with Ravi is more like 15 years. So did that, and then I joined Omidyar Network India, where I sort of went back to more traditional marketing and communications. But throughout the whole time being connected, in the world of sport, either through consulting or sort of working with a couple of other investors who were working in the space. And then about 2 years ago, I really decided, I was like, I've had enough of this traditional marketing and comms, and I spoke to Rupa, my boss then, and I was like, look, I really need to do something different. And that's when we came up with this idea of saying, look, let's take sports and impact and marry the two. And then I built out an investment thesis. And the whole thesis is that, look, if I can call myself an athlete, like I've seen people's lives change through sport, right? Whether it's at an athlete level, whether it's at a coach level. I mean, there are several of us who've played sport professionally, and you've seen, you know what that means, right? How that changes people's lives. And really, I believe in the power of sport tremendously, and which is where I'm bullish, because and we were just talking about this a little while earlier, right? Like you could take a parallel of where fintech was 15 years ago, but everybody understood the value of fintech, right, and what it can unlock. I think the opportunity today is for us to educate, like people like us, and we are the first we're the vanguard, right? We have to take to the masses or to the wider entrepreneur community, to the wider investor community, and really explain to them the power of sport.
Yeah.
Right? Because I believe that's really what's going to do it. And so I do a bunch of work with people like Abhinav Bindra and that ilk, and you see the energy that these people carry, right, in being able to sort of drive sport. So I believe, like, for me, that really is, Anand, to answer your question very meanderingly, is to be able to unlock that opportunity. Is that, what sports and through technology as an enabler, what it means to me is it means a healthier nation. It means actually delivering on the demographic dividend that we keep talking about. It actually means providing more livelihoods and opportunities in spaces that have previously been unexplored. And it means intersections of so many different changes, right? So I mean, you can talk about financial inclusion, you can talk about gender, you can talk about education, health. I mean, they're endless, because really that's what's required, right? Like, we need imagination in sort of being able to unlock all of these things. And I think that's what makes me so bullish. The sports tech, yes, and we'll make some money out of that, sure, but I think the larger opportunity is if we can really kickstart the sport and technology in India primarily has solved for the top 10%. That's it. There's a 90% below that, right? Like, who's going to solve for that? And I believe sports actually can be that sort of defining element.
Absolutely. And I think when coming about, like, let's say, just to add, like, why I am bullish, so sorry to disappoint on the AI front. So the AI front, the only good opportunity is that AI is going to make us have more free time. And what can you do in that free time? You will have to play sport, right? Or video games, or something like that. So eventually the demand side will come from there. Because at the end of the day, yeah, absolutely, there will be applications of AI in sports as well. Yeah. But my simple point is that, and that's why if you see today why governments are spending so much in sports or sports tech, why they are promoting it, because first, it has become the single most parameter of showcasing or projecting the soft power of any nation, right? So today the economic advancement of any country and their sporting advancement is very much correlated, and that's why everyone is spending. And I think second is, if governments want to maintain law and order, there is so much free time in the hands of citizens, and I think probably sports is one of the only things where some productive time, leisure time people can spend. So I think that is from a